Philip Jose Farmer, and one of my favorite writers and one of the greatest influences on my own work. I think what Phil taught me, not so much stylistically, but was to be brave. He was always brave. One time at a convention, I was talking to him, and he said something to the extent that you had to sometimes be willing to go out on a limb with a story and sit on the wrong end of the limb and saw it off. Because I think that he had done that a few times, and I know I have. But what he also taught me was the juxtaposition between odd ideas that didn't normally seem to go together and could. But probably not only is he my favorite science fiction writer, he's one of my favorite writers of all time. And had he gone a direction I think he sometimes wished he had, which was to be a more literary or mainstream writer, we wouldn't have had Philip Jose Farmer as we know him. I think it was that conflict between genre and literary that when he was at his best, and sometimes he certainly was creating work to pay the bills, but when he was at his best, that's what made it unique, was the fact that those two elements were warring against one another, and he made them blend, and he made them interesting, and he made them outrageous at times. So that's my take on Philip Jose Farmer, except that when I met him, I found him to be a kind and generous man. He was so kind to my wife and me and my son once at a convention, because we were too damn poor to afford a hotel room, and we were there with our son Keith, and he was a baby then, and we were having to walk around and carry him, and our hotel was a few miles away, and they saw us doing that, and Betty, his wife, came over and said, would you guys like to come up to our hotel room for a minute and rest and have a Coke or something, which we did, which I was so excited about, because here's one of my heroes. He and his wife were inviting us up to his room to talk, and we went up and he and I talked about Jack London and a number of other things. But that's the thing I remember specifically, is not only was he a great influence on me as a writer, he was a great human being.